In today's video, we look at various incarnations of Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Rough Riders, ranging from the classic, to the brand new, to the somewhat bizarre. Well, hi folks, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lee, your old-hammered host. So today, on the Warhammer community page, GW announced the return of Imperial Guard Rough Riders. That's right, Astra Militarum Cavalry are back, with new sculpts and new rules, and it's all part of the big wave of Astra Militarum releases that GW has in the works. The new Rough Riders also seem to be part of GW's recent trend of rebooting old figure lines that had been discontinued. These new sculpts definitely pay tribute to the original Rough Riders of Attila, right down to the exploding lances and the furry hats. So the Warhammer community page says that Rough Riders have been on hiatus since 2009, and by that I believe they mean that no real sculpts were available, the exception being, of course, the Death Corps of Krieg Death Riders, which have been available on the Forge World website for quite some time, though they are a bit pricey. Even with the lack of sculpts, however, you could still field Rough Riders in a game of Warhammer 40k up through 7th edition. Here is a listing for them in the 2013 Astra Militarum Codex. After that, however, I believe Rough Riders faded from sanctioned play and became Warhammer Legends. Okay, well, just for fun, let's take a look at some various incarnations of Rough Riders, starting with their debut back in White Dwarf issue 111, published back in March of 1989. Rough Riders had the dubious distinction of being introduced alongside rules for White Shield Child Soldiers, which presumably will not be rebooted in the upcoming Astra Militarum Codex. So first-generation Rough Riders were little more than first-generation Imperial Guardsmen on horseback, though your Rough Rider squads could include commissars, commanders, orderlies, and even a guy in a Teddy Roosevelt-type hat down there on the lower left, which I think is pretty cool. Rough Rider squads could even be equipped with special weapons. I don't know what that guy in the top middle has, but the guy on the lower right is rocking a grenade launcher. Here's another shot of some painted first-generation Rough Riders, and as you can see, there were a lot more troop and weapon choices back then, though trying to fire a heavy bolter or something from horseback probably would have been challenging. By the time the 1995 Imperial Guard Codex was published, however, the old first-generation Rough Riders were supplanted by the new Rough Riders of Attila. Here is an Attilan Rough Rider Sergeant and Standard Bearer, and here are some regular Attilan Rough Riders. You can see that the commissars and the special weapons have gone away, but at least there is some variety in the sculpts, so everything doesn't look too uniform. The 1995 Imperial Guard Codex also introduces Captain Mogul Khmer, hero of the Imperium, and perhaps its greatest cavalry officer. Mogul Khmer could be chosen as the captain of a Rough Rider Command HQ. So I'm a big fan of the classic Attilan Rough Riders, and we're actually fortunate to have a few of them in our collection here at home. And I'm always looking for an excuse to get them on the table. So for example, here is a game of Kill Team, a homebrew game, where the Rough Riders of Attila are attempting to disperse a horde of scavenging grots. So about the same time that Attilan Rough Riders were on the scene, GW also offered Talarn Rough Riders, though I don't think they were as common. We're fortunate to have a few Talarn Rough Riders in the collection, both painted and unpainted. Obviously these are ideal if you have a Talarn Imperial Guard army, but they also work great with Necromunda Ashwaste Nomads, if you have any of those. And speaking of Ashwaste Nomads, Games Workshop, for a limited time only, and only through mail order, offered an Imperial Guard Ashwaste Army Bundle, which included Talarn Rough Riders on jet bikes, and I wish I had a few of those. Or if you wanted something completely different, for a long time, Forge World was offering these Talarn Mukali Rough Riders. I hope I pronounced that right. The rules for which were included in the Imperial Armor Taros campaign hardback book. So here is a very interesting illustration I found in the 1999 Imperial Guard Codex, which refers to the various types of Rough Riders found on or recruited from various planets in the Imperium. I bet you didn't know that there were Rough Rider Ratskin Militia out in the wilds of Necromunda, for example. Or that there was such a thing as Gantor Riders. I suppose you could use cold ones as proxies for those, or whatever that guy in the middle is. It says unauthorized access, so perhaps he is classified. Then we have Azelti Lancers with refractor fields for high-risk riot containment and control, Praetorian Hussars, and Mercenaries from the planet Palladius. And finally, we have the familiar Talarn Desert Raiders, the Death Riders of Krieg, and the new-to-me Crushers from the planet Remus, who appear to use traditional armor and some sort of a lance-mace combination. And now, to wrap things up, let's jump ahead to the 2008 Imperial Guard Codex and another reference to Mogul Khmer, who this time is equipped with a Cyber Steed. Okay, Games Workshop, you get kudos for bringing back Rough Riders at all, but if you give us Mogul Khmer and a Cyber Steed, you get a gold star. Okay, folks, that is a wrap on today's Rough Rider retrospective, including some deep cuts that I didn't even know until I stumbled upon them today. Please let us know what you think of some of those old classic Rough Rider sculpts, as well as the new Rough Riders that GW is producing as part of their big reboot and refresh of the Astra Militarum line. Please let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. And as always, thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you next time.